We're getting a Sega Genesis Mini.
Yes.
Why the hell didn't we get one?
Because it's not out yet.
So every other YouTuber on the planet's getting one.
Oh yeah, that's
and I'm
right.
mad about it.
What the hell? We've been raising the flag for the Genesis since we started. Clearly.
Sega. What's going on here, Sega?
We need a Sega contact because this is bogus.
That costs like $400 in a relationship.
I know.
So that's Sonic right there.
I know the things we do for the hedgehog.
Anyway.
And on this, the 30th anniversary of the Sega Genesis release in America. No, that's true. Today is the 30th anniversary. Is the release of the Sega Genesis.
Oh, that must be why the embargo lifted today on all this Sega Genesis stuff.
All this stuff is technically preview stuff. Nobody's actually reviewed it yet.
So, but people are getting consoles.
Right, they're getting consoles and they're talking about it, but these aren't like official reviews. The Polygon article said this isn't like an actual review. We can just tell you like what's on it and why we like it so much, which is basically a review.
So what? They're not allowed to say what's wrong with it?
No, because it's so weird. Let me see if I can look up exactly what it said.
You look that up. I'm going to read this part of the Verge's article.
Yeah.
I guess they didn't review it? I don't know.
I don't know.
The Sega Genesis Mini builds on what made Nintendo's tiny consoles great. It's been 3 years since the breakout success of Nintendo's tiny NES Classic, but the miniature console wars are finally heating up. First, Nintendo followed up with the slightly improved SNES Classic, and then Sony jumped in with the somewhat disappointing PlayStation Classic, which you can now get for $20.
I almost bought one for
Target.
$20.
It's very sad.
Yeah.
Now it's Sega's turn, and while the company is late to the party, Sega, unlike Sony, seems to have learned from its predecessors. The Sega Genesis Mini is shaping up to be the best retro console to date.
Damn.
That is a tall order there.
Yeah.
Because the NES Classic and the SNES Classic are great retro consoles. You probably already knew the basics. The Sega Genesis Mini looks just like, a mini Genesis to the point that it seems more like a toy than a console. Sega says it's 55% smaller than the original Genesis. That's
a little more than half.
And the original Genesis was massive.
Yeah.
Why did my computer just freak out like that? All right, we're good. We're back.
All right.
It costs $80, $79.99. Connects to your TV via an included HDMI cable. Comes with two 3-button USB controllers that are solid replicas of the original Genesis gamepad, and features 42 built-in games that puts it at the same price point as the SNES Classic and a bit cheaper than the PlayStation Classic's $100 price tag. Not anymore, though.
Yeah.
PlayStation Classic is a much better deal now. For that money, you get around twice as many included games as the other mini systems. I wonder if you can use the 8-bit Do controller.
So it's USB, the controllers. Mm-hmm. So you would need like that 8-bit Do USB Bluetooth transmitter. When they make a Nintendo version, they make a PlayStation version. They'll probably come out with a Sega version for this, which will just be the same dongle, just colored black. But Retrobit, because the controllers that came with it are three button controllers.
Correct.
But there are some games on here, like Street Fighter, are better with the 6-button controllers. Retrobit made replica Genesis controllers, replica 6-button Genesis controllers, and both original Genesis 9-pin connector and USB connector.
I saw those at they sell those at like local retro game stores.
Yeah,
I've seen them.
So you can get those and they plug in easily. You can just use them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the 8-bit Do ones that we have are the 6-button.
Yeah. Well, 8-bit Do only makes 6-button ones.
But the only adapter that we have is for an actual Sega Genesis.
Yeah, so you would probably have to get...
Or the analog.
You'd have to get that USB one that they sell.
Because it would be nice to have the 6-button. But, I mean, I like this one better for games like Sonic. Mm-hmm. You know, because there's no reason to have 6 buttons for Sonic. Every button does the same thing.
Yeah.
Really, the game library is the highlight of Sega Genesis Mini. The hardware is mostly what you'd expect. It's cute and small and solid in an unremarkable way. The library is not only huge, but it covers a lot of ground. For reference, here's the full list. I'm not reading the full list.
All right. Well, we got a lot.
We got a lot of good stuff.
Yeah.
We got Sonic the Hedgehog. We got Echo the Dolphin, Castlevania. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine.
Castle of Illusion and World of Illusion starring Mickey Mouse. 2 different Mickey Mouse games.
That's a big license.
Yeah.
Comic Zone. Toe Jam and Earl. What else do we got?
Altered Beast, Shinobi 3, Streets of Rage 2, Earthworm Jim, Contra Hardcore, Mega Man The Wily Wars.
Yes.
Which was only released in Europe and only released in America as part of the Sega channel.
We talked about that on the show. That is a big deal.
That's a very big deal.
That's going to be on that.
You got Phantasy Star 4. You got Vector Man. You got Road Rash 2. You got Strider. You got Alicia Dragoon. You have Columns. You have Tetris and Darius, which never officially came out.
Damn.
Either of those games.
Notable omissions here. Sonic 3.
Yes.
Sonic and Knuckles. And Sonic 2.
Sonic 2's on there.
Never mind. Why didn't they put all the Sonic games together? Why isn't this listed in alphabetical order?
I don't know.
Also, I don't see Revenge of Shinobi.
That's got to be on here.
I keep forgetting which one I like more. I think I like Shinobi 3 more.
I think you do, because every time we play Revenge of Shinobi, you're like, I don't like this game.
Shinobi 3 is the better one. Shinobi 3 is... Now, Shinobi 3 is one of the top 3 best Sega Genesis games.
Oh, absolutely.
Here he is riding a freaking rocket surfboard. And you can't see it because it's all the way down the freaking screen. But you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So, yes, Shinobi 3 is on here, and that's the best one. Who cares about Revenge of Shinobi?
Yeah.
Forget I even said anything. Some of these are obvious inclusions. Of course, you're going to get Sonic the Hedgehog and Echo the Dolphin in a retro Sega package, and it would feel like something was missing without Gunstar Heroes. Gunstar Heroes is another fantastic game. And Streets of Rage 2. Comic Zone is here because, well, it always is for some reason. I have to agree with the Verge guy here.
Pretty much true.
Other inclusions are more surprising. Third-party titles like Castle of Illusion or Castlevania Bloodlines, and the not especially memorable fighter Eternal Champions.
Yeah, Castlevania Bloodlines has never really been re-released until now, which is a big deal.
What's great about the lineup, though, is how it spans many different genres and playstyles. In particular, there are several excellent multiplayer games. Streets of Rage 2 is still a lot of fun with a friend, alongside titles like Phantasy Star 4 that can play for hours alone. The package is also rounded out with unexpected games that never actually released on the Genesis, including Tetris and the 1987 arcade shooter Darius. They're not quite as cool as the addition of the unreleased Star Fox 2 on the SNES Classic, but they're still welcome add-ons. What could they have possibly had that would be as cool as that?
Yeah, the closest thing that they have really is Tetris and Darius. Because I think there only exist 3 copies of Tetris for Genesis.
There's that Sonic game. I think it was Sonic. I don't think it was a Genesis game, though. I think it was a Sonic CD game.
Oh, Sonic Crackers?
Extreme or something?
Oh, Sonic Extreme, yeah.
Yeah, but that definitely was not finished.
Yeah, no, that was not finished.
No
And that was a Saturn game.
That's what it was. So that was never going to happen.
Yeah.
So the closest thing I think that they have to something like a Star Fox 2 is Wily Wars, which is a game that came out. We just never got it in America. Not only are the games themselves great, but the conversions are about as perfect as you can get. This shouldn't be too much of a surprise. The porting for all of the games was handled by M2, a studio that made a name for itself with pitch-perfect translations of classic Sega titles, including the recently released Virtua Racing on the Switch.
They also handled the Genesis collection for Switch and Xbox One and PS4. They are the best port house when it comes to taking old games and putting on modern systems.
The Genesis collection for the Switch is really, really good.
Yeah.
And the emulation is near perfect.
Yeah.
I would say.
I am currently playing Comic Zone on that, and I'm using Invincibility because that's the only way to play that game.
Not even just using save states?
Yeah, Invincibility.
That's sad.
It's sad, but...
Should at least be using save states.
I'm using save states.
At most.
Yeah, I'm definitely using save states, but I'm also using the invincibility cheat because you play the game without it and tell me it's doable. Go on. I dare you.
As the previous mini consoles, you have a variety of display options letting you render the games in the original 4x3, stretch out to 16:9, or add on a filter to replicate a CRT TV.
If you play the game stretched out to 16:9, please unsubscribe.
I learned something. when doing my M Classic review, and Nintendo was pointing this out. The signal coming from retro consoles is 3x2 most of the time.
Yeah.
But it's just that the CRT screens would stretch it out to 4x3.
Yeah.
So Pixel Perfect, I guess you would say, is 3x2.
I think so. Pixel Perfect is technically like the very square.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's, well, no, then that's not 3x2. That's 1x1.
Yeah.
Well, no, it doesn't actually, when you do Pixel Perfect on the SNES Classic or the NES Classic, it's not square.
Yeah, it is.
I don't think it is.
Yeah, no, Pixel Perfect is the square one.
I don't think it's,
On the NES Classic, it is.
I don't think it's exactly square. I think it's 3x2 is what I'm trying to say, is that it just, the pixels are perfectly square, but the entire screen is 3x2.
Hold on.
Because then why the hell else would the signal be 3x2? It's almost square because it's 3x2.
Yeah, look. Pixel Perfect is more square than the other one.
Yeah, it's definitely more square. But I'm telling you, I think it's 3x2. Which is almost square.
Yeah.
The pixels are square. The pixels are perfectly square.
Yes.
The 4x3 stretches it out a little bit to make it feel like it did on a CRT TV. I don't know why I like Pixel Perfect, but that's not how the games were intended to be played.
No, well, I feel Pixel
4x3
Perfect is
is
what a
probably
lot of
the best
emulators use. So, like, if you're used to playing a game on an emulator, then that's probably fine for you.
Probably, yeah. I mean, I've gotten more used to playing them in an emulator for some reason.
Yeah.
Atten just texted me and said Genesis Mini comes out the day before the Switch Lite.
Yeah, it comes out September 19th.
Wow, it's gonna be a busy week. Why do that? I'm not making 2 videos. And Greg's getting married that weekend. Will, it's gonna be a
big... And Borderlands comes out on the 13th.
get out. Who cares about that?
I know, right?
Another
Thank
thing
you.
comes out on the 13th. Will, me.
You came out already.
My
You're
birthday.
You're just turning 30.
My birthday.
Old man.
I'm not 30 yet. Still got a few weeks.
Yeah.
All right, well, here's the HDMI out, the DC in, which is
Just mini USB.
Mini USB. Yeah.
Micro USB, rather.
Also, the analog is also the same.
Yeah.
This is a beautiful console.
It is.
Even has a little expansion slot on the bottom.
Yeah, so you can take the expansion slot cover off. You can play with the volume switch. The dust cover for the cartridges move. They're spring-loaded.
Damn.
The attention to detail is incredible.
And then there's perhaps the Verge article writer's favorite feature. The menu music is a kick-ass new song from legendary Streets of Rage composer Yuzo Koshiro. According to Sega, he made the track using a YM2612 sound chip from the original Genesis. All of these elements, the home button, the huge library, the music, combined to make a product that actually improves on what Nintendo has done in many ways.
Yes. That is cool that they got him back to do a brand new menu music for, because Streets of Rage has incredible music.
That is true.
Also, fun fact of what they did, you can change the region in the Genesis Mini, so you can change it to like Europe and Japan. And if you do that, not only is the menu different and the box art are different, but the games are different. So if you load up the Japanese Contra Hardcore, it's actually an easier game.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Because the PlayStation Classic has only the European version. Well, most of the games are the European version. And that means that they run at 50 hertz.
Yeah.
They're like, it's a garbage file.
Yeah. That is such a boneheaded.
So that is amazing that they would include just a completely different ROM.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And it also people kind of want the Famicom Classic and the Super Famicom Classic because the games are different.
Yeah.
And for this, you don't need a different. You just friggin' just load up the different region.
Yeah.
That's amazing.